Welcome to our channel. My name's Mark and join me, Glenda and Martha as we try and learn new skills and live more simply and self-sufficiently following our exit from the corporate world 2 years ago. We've had a really busy week. We've been fixing the wood store, getting the wood stacked for winter, lots of gardening and using wood ash from our wood burner. Glenda's been making sourdough crackers, I've been making burgers and Glenda's been making a book. But my first job of the week was to fix the wood store. The wood had rotted, the felt had given up on the roof, it wasn't waterproof, and we had a big load of wood arrive, so I really needed to crack on. But because we had rain forecast, the first thing I had to do was stack the wood. I usually like stacking the wood, but this was a really difficult pile this year. It wasn't very level. So there's the first barrow load about to go in. So all's fine, this is the really important part. Can you get the base level, well stacked in, nice and tight so everything can go on top of it? I'm quite precise about this. Most things in life I'm not, but when it comes to stacking wood, I get a little bit kind of anal about the whole thing. Anyway, I'm about halfway, but look at this. There's some massive bits of wood. Usually there's half a dozen. This time I've lost count, and that means I have to axe it out because it just won't fit on the fire. So I'm getting some good physical activity in, and out comes the 2 pound axe. But some of the bits just wouldn't axe, so out came the wood grenade. So I'm having to use the lump hammer to bang it in. This one's not too bad, but some of them were so hard, I had to resort to the sledgehammer. Now, the sledgehammer is definitely harder work than the axe, but there was only about 2 or 3 I had to do. So that is now job done with those bits, and how relieved am I. And there's the wood store. I'm well chuffed with that. It doesn't look too bad actually, but it's still not waterproof. So I've ripped the old felt off. The wood is actually okay underneath, luckily. So all I've got to do is put on the new bit of felt, put the flashing and the guttering back on, and then we have one watertight watershed, which will do for another year or 2, hopefully. I'm quite pleased with that. Not bad for someone who usually botches the DIY. So anyway, over to the allotment now. We've got the wood ash, and this is going in the brassica cage. It apparently helps put a bit of lime back into the soil, which is really good for brassicas and can help with clubroot. So our little red cabbages are ready to go out, so I'm just planting those up today. Nice simple job, not too strenuous. There's about 20 going in. But here I come, this is the hardest part, go and get in the watering can. Give them a good watering in, give them a good start in life. Now the broad beans we overwintered are really in flower now. The bees are on them, so looks like we could have a decent crop, but I've got a gap to put the next lot in before we get up towards where the garlic is. So there are our broad bean plants, second sowing going in. Again, start them from plug, because we're no dig gardening, they just push in, it's so easy. So there's about, 36 plants gone in there. So again, I've just got to water them in, give them a good start in life, and then just have to wait a couple of months for those to be ready. So we used fleece for the first time this year to start off the spinach and the lettuces, and look at that. I haven't checked it, but it's come on really well. So I've taken the fleece off now, but because we've got carrot seedlings up the end where I'm putting the hoop in, we've got to watch out for the carrot fly, so I need to get the netting over which stops the carrot fly getting in. So once I've got the hoops in, which isn't too bad because they're made with fiberglass, so they bend quite easily, push down well into the soil, I can start dragging the net over. I used to use stakes to hold it down, but it makes sort of holes in it. So I've been collecting bits of old slab and edging, and that holds it down. So when I got home, Glenda said, I'm going to make some sourdough crackers from our sourdough starter. So she's rolled them out. She's just putting some salt on, some thyme, rosemary from the garden. Always get those 2 muddled up. And once she's put the salt on, just need a little bit of olive oil just to help them on the way in the oven. And then they're going to go into the oven for about 15 minutes. We've never done them before, but we saw a lady in Canada doing them and we thought, great idea. We have the offcast from the sourdough, so we might as well use them. So there he is, Glenn just popping them in the oven, and here they are. Look at those. They actually look really good, and they smell fantastic because of the rosemary on them. So Glenda's now about to give it the taste test. They sound nice and crunchy. What do you think, Glenda? They have the Glenda seal of approval.
Are they nice?
But as well as actually made a loaf of sourdough bread, and we managed to get some local crabs. First we've had this season, so we're about to tuck into our crabs. Glenda follows a great podcast called The Last Homely House, and the lady was making a book. And whilst it wasn't a tutorial, you could really follow what to do. So we had some handmade paper, so Glenda said, I'm going to make a book. So she's done the front and back cover and covered them with fabric, but now she's got to sew the pages together, and the yarn has to be waxed to help it slide through. So that wax is actually stuff that we made from our beehives last year. So this is an absolutely fantastic project. It's handmade and it's using our wax as well. So Glenda's just stitching the book together now. So whilst it's a bookmaking project, it's still very much kind of crafting and sewing, because there's thread involved. Who would have thought it? You know, we get used to modern books, everything's glued, but this is like traditional hand-stitched books. And as I said, the paper is handmade as well. We bought it from a shop years ago. So this is a very artisan project which is going on here. So let's just watch Glenda stitch it together. So now Glenda just needs to join the front and back cover on. These are the front and back covers she'd already made, covered them in fabric, just a piece of card cut out from just a box we had laying around. So these just have to be glued on. So some PVA glue is going on to the very front sheet of paper there. And then we just need to position that page onto the cardboard. But this has to be well pressed down and weighted down for the glue to dry to make sure it sticks properly onto that front sheet. So out comes a fairly heavy book, but that's not going to be big enough for the job. So more books and an 8-kilo kettlebell, so Glenda gets a workout at the same time. Anyway, I'm now moving on to making tonight's dinner. So I'm going to make some handmade burgers. So we've got some sourdough bread out, so I'm making the breadcrumbs and just getting the onion and garlic ready to go in, because I like to add a bit of onion and garlic into our burgers. Nothing goes to waste. They're going into the compost bin and they'll end up going back into our garden at some point. So the Aberdeen Angus mince from our local farmer has gone in there, and now I'm going to add my secret ingredients. I'm going to add a bit of cumin and a bit of coriander. These are my favourite flavourings when I make burgers. Just a pinch of salt and some nice freshly ground black pepper, just for a bit of seasoning. And that's really the main ingredients which are in there. So the next thing is I need to grate my garlic and onion. I don't like chopping it up because I find my chopping's not good enough. I get some bigger bits and then it doesn't cook properly necessarily into the burgers. And no one likes a big lump of onion in it. So I grate them in. And I crack an egg in to help bind it all together. The breadcrumbs go in, and now I get the really nice messy bit, which is just working it all together with my hands. So now I'm just weighing out to make sure I get the right size so they're all equal. I'm going to make 6 out of this batch. So there's my 6 burgers ready to go. So now I haven't got a pressing machine. I do it by hand because it's just not worth it with the amount I do. But that's not too bad. So that's the first one done. And now the final one's being done. Just pan it into place. And look at that, there's our burgers all ready for tea tonight. So the final job was setting up our new apiary. So I've got the stands in place, my bees are trying to swarm. I need to get down there and get the bees over to the new apiary. So that will be in next week's video.